Italy has recorded the most deaths in one day since the outbreak of the coronavirus began. 368 people have died from COVID-19 in Italy in just a 24-hour period. Lombardy, in the north of the country, remains the worst hit region, recording 252 deaths since yesterday. The World Health Organization has determined northern Italy to be the new epicentre of the virus, overtaking Wuhan in China. US airports have been thrown into chaos after the introduction of new health screening measures on travellers from Europe. It comes as disease experts warn the worst of the outbreak in the US is still to come. Here's North America correspondent David Lipson.
We've seen overnight chaotic scenes at various airports, particularly O'Hare Airport in Chicago, where thousands of people were crammed together in the arrivals hall. Many of them had come in from Europe, many of them American citizens who were just trying to rush home. So there was no travel ban imposed on them, but it seems they are fearing that restrictions could get tighter in the days and weeks ahead. So not a lot of social distancing going on in Chicago. It was an issue of great concern to not only the officials at the airport, but also other top health experts here in the United States, particularly because most of the people in those crowds had come in from the apparent epicenter of this crisis, Europe, and they are expecting even more flights today. Dr. Anthony Fauci is the top infectious disease official in the United States. He says that he fears that the health system, which has suffered more than a decade of cuts and was already in a fairly parlous state, according to some critics, that it could be overwhelmed if the coronavirus ends up in the worst case scenario here in the US. He says the Trump administration is doing everything it possibly can to avoid that worst case scenario, but if it does unfold in such a way, there simply wouldn't be enough ventilators for all of the people that need it. So there are further measures that are being considered at the moment. Right now, there are many schools, more than a dozen states have shut down all their schools. A lot of other public facilities and businesses have closed their doors as well. But out in the streets and in pubs and restaurants, there are still people around. We'll see. He certainly says, Dr. Fauci, this is that there may be more hunkering down that is imposed than what Americans are experiencing at the moment.
David Lipson reporting there. In China, the country where the coronavirus pandemic began, it's introducing new restrictions on travellers. Anybody arriving on international flights will have to self-isolate or be sent to quarantine facilities for 14 days. The spread of COVID-19 has slowed considerably in China thanks to strict quarantine measures, but there are fears that it could be imported back into the country. For the first time in more than 3 weeks, South Korea has reported fewer than 100 new cases of coronavirus. Meanwhile, Malaysia has reported a near doubling of the instances in the past 24 hours, with more than 400 cases.